mid-level software developer role, and I worked with Julia. You can see our whiteboard behind her from our office. And what I wanted to do today was take you guys through basically, yeah, it's an intimidating whiteboard, and full disclosure, we wrote all of that right before COVID happened, and nobody has been in the office to look at it since, except for Julia. But anyway, we're going to be using GitHub, creating a repository. We're going to just be using Create React App to throw a simple app together, and then I'm going to show you guys how to host it on GitHub Pages and how to deploy the code and how that looks like. And I'll go nice and slow with it. And then after that, I want to show you guys this integration on GitHub, which is really cool. And it'll let you, so whenever you push anything to your branch or create a new pull request to your branch, it'll automatically deploy the code. And you can do all sorts of things like run unit tests around your code every time you make a pull request automatically and make sure they all pass before it merges in. And yeah, it's a continuous integration is really nice, and you can sort of let GitHub worry about a lot of things for you. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here, and I'm going to start off by Google Chrome would like to record the screen. Choose what to share.
Oh wait, are you able to share your screen now? I hope so.
I'm working on it. Oh, no. There's a problem sharing your screen. Trying using another web browser to join this event.
Oh yeah, Bevy only supports Chrome. I just found that out recently. It's Fede, who's here, actually found that out from this vendor, Bevy, who host this this meetup platform.
Oh no! See, that's why I wanted to share my screen before we started.
I'm sorry. Well, you've done it before. I didn't know you were gonna do it in a totally different way.
I'm on my MacBook now because I.
For anybody who's been hanging around the Detroit chapter for a long time, you may remember Josh. Josh hosted a test-driven development-based meetup in March. We built a little React app, a little to-do list, and it was really fun and cool. And if you ever want, the whole thing is on our chapter YouTube channel, so you would be able to watch it back and Oh, Arlene's asking, not nearly everyone, Arlene, is near Detroit, but I'm in Detroit right now, so is Josh. We have a couple people in Canada, like Michael. Trish is also in Canada. We have other people here, like Laura is in South Korea, Betty's in New York. Whoa, you really got the sharing thing going now.
I don't think I do. I don't want to try
to. Arkansas, it's pretty cool.
What can you guys describe to me what you're seeing here?
Yeah, you're like there's like this never-ending window of you sharing your screen.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, screenception, Brandon said it's totally right.
So I'm on Chrome, Julia. You're saying it only works on Chrome?
Yeah, like it should ask choose what to share, and then you should be able to pick like a Chrome tab or an entire window or an entire screen.
Mine just says which I do. I could try leaving and joining on Firefox, but I kind of doubt that will work at all.
Should, just for the sake of keeping momentum, should I just pull up my GitHub and talk about GitHub in general kind of thing? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like
honestly,
okay.
Maybe I could walk you through doing all of this.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, that might be. What do you think, Michael?
Let's see. You're gonna see my ugly repos and all that. Let's see.
That's fine.
No, that's okay. No, I love the idea.
This will
Okay,
be
so-
even better. Yeah. See, this
Okay.
is so easy. I could just direct someone to do it.
Cool.
This is the life, Josh. This is like when you know
Alright.
you've made it. You can just sit back and point.
Let me close this. Oh, my computer's getting angry at me now. So, Julia, Trish needs some help though. She's trying to log in and log out, but
Okay. I'll
yeah.
check out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so why don't we go to your GitHub main page. The first thing I wanted to do is go through these access tokens that we need
Oh,
to
okay.
connect GitHub to our terminal and make sure everyone's all set with that. So yeah, that's in settings, developer settings. There. And you have your personal, okay, so you have, all right, so you probably have this, do you have this PAT token connected globally or to a specific project right now?
So this is a specific project token. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, well, you need to have you also need to have a PAT token to connect to your GitHub account, right?
Oh, I do that through, I think with VS Code, I actually connected my account to GitHub. So maybe I skipped that step.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
as long as you're pushing to GitHub, we won't need it.
Yeah.
But just so everyone's aware, if this is your first time connecting GitHub to your computer, you're going to want to generate a personal access token to use as the password for your GitHub account. And usually when and if you're following through with us at the point where we do something like git push and we want to communicate with the repository, it should prompt you to put in your username and password. And at that point, you should put in just the username of your GitHub account, and your password should be that generated PAT token that you can generate right there in GitHub.
Oh, I see. And then is there specific rights or scopes that the token should have in that case?
Yes, it should have repo. If you scroll up, repo and workflow should be checked.
All of that.
Because
Okay.
we want workflow checked so we can create a YAML script and enable continuous integration.
I see. So like if I did just I think this is like a special scenario. If you like, so if we did GitHub and I'm logging in, it would be here where we would put the token we just generated. Is that right?
This might be a different, I think this is a single sign-on. I think this is
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's a different
It
case.
just recently changed policies where they wanted you to use your PAT token as your password instead of your regular password. It's actually how I had to set it a couple days ago because I haven't logged into GitHub in a while. But yeah, so there might be a couple problems for people, especially if they haven't used GitHub in a while and now they're logging on and they might get an error that says like, I think it's since August 16th, 2021, GitHub has switched over to using PAT tokens as your authentication password. Go generate one. So if anyone runs into that problem and can't connect to GitHub, just drop something in chat and maybe we can troubleshoot it because it could honestly be one of many things.
Okay.
But for now, I think that, yeah, I think we should just go ahead and create a new repository.
Cool. So through the web browser?
Yeah,
A quick
you can just create
definition on repository.
Sorry, one more time.
Can we get a quick definition on repository?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So when I say repository, you can think of a repository as a code base, basically. And when you're talking with repositories in terms of Git, we have what we're setting up right now, which is a virtual repository being held in the GitHub. You can think of this as the centralized virtual repository that's holding the code. And then when we start developing on this repository, we're going to create what's called a local repository, which is a mirror of that repository on your local machine. And usually when, like right now, it'll just be a one-to-one relationship as we're building it. But if you think about working at a company with a lot of developers, there will be one virtual repository with many local repositories branched out on different developers' machines as they work on different branches. So I think the first thing when understanding what's going on with Git is thinking of what we're setting up right now as like a virtual centralized repository that we're going to be using Git to push and pull code from, basically.
Right.
Cool. Is everyone on board with that?
One way I like to think about it is just Google Docs. If you ever worked with Google Docs, it's very similar to the same thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Except you would have to type something to sync your document.
That's true. Yeah, there's no autosave. Yeah, if you close your code without your editor without saving, yes, then it's gone.
Yes, for sure. So first step here, we can name this whatever we want. Let's name it. Let's see. I like building a shell with React and TypeScript. So why don't we name this React-TS-CI-example.
Cool. Public. And then just.
We don't really need to add any of this.
Okay. Cool.
To create React app will handle all this for us.
That's right. Okay.
So just create a new repository. And if everyone's following along now, basically, we're all set from the remote side, and we need to create our local repository. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open up our terminal.
In the code editor?
Let's see, where are you in the code?
I use Git Bash on my VS Code, and then I also have.
So why don't you navigate up to like a project folder where we can create any new project?
Sure. Okay, you guys are going to see how I navigate my thing here.
All I do is cd.ls, cd.ls.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, and then how do I make dr Codecademy?
Actually, I would make a directory like projects, because when we create a React app, that will make its own folder.
Okay.
With name in it. We'll have a nested folder in here. There we go. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm going to drop in the chat right now the documentation for Create React App and adding TypeScript. I guess I should start by talking a little bit about TypeScript. And Michael, you can go here and run yarn create React app. Do you have yarn installed?
Oh no, I got np. I got node, so I'll just run that. Yeah. Oh, was that the command?
Well, you would normally replace my app with any name. It's just your folder is going to be named my app right now.
Oh shoot. That's
fine. It's okay. So from a high level, what is React? It's really just a UI library. It's talked about as a framework, but it's that's really a misnomer. React really, why I like React so much is it's very close to writing vanilla modern JavaScript, and then you combine it with views called JSX. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to compartmentalize your business logic and your components in a way, and with the right architecture, basically it can feel a little similar to CSS when you're building these centralized data systems and you're building components in the DOM to feed and catch information and show it, or dispatch information somewhere else. So it gets a little getting used to. It definitely doesn't follow any sort of MVC framework. And it follows a lot of functional programming aspects. So there can be a lot of overhead, but there are a lot of great, there's a lot of great documentation out there. And it's personally the framework I chose to learn out of like coding bootcamp, and I like it a lot. So
yeah. I did want to address something in the chat here. So we see, I know it can be intimidating when we see this and we're like running something in the terminal. So this is just a specific project setup, right? Like really to understand the GitHub and Git and all that, we don't necessarily need to always run a React app.
For sure.
Right. So for those of you that are looking at this and like, oh my God, this is way over my head. Oh, it's React.js. I haven't learned that yet. Don't worry. It's okay. This is just the setup for what we're going to do. It's going to make sense. This is as hard as it gets, I think. Right.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I just, yeah, this is a lot of boilerplate that we're installing right now. What Create React App is doing is it's allowing you to play with the framework, and just basically with a couple more command lines, it's able to bundle all of that code in the minified JavaScript and minified CSS all by itself, serve it to a local server. Everything's built in. So, I mean, it looks scary to run this in the command line and see all these things whirring, but it would be a lot scarier to have to build all the features that it's offering out to you. That honestly, to me, especially when I was learning how to code, I found that to be a barrier I definitely struggled with. But once I got over it, I found out how detrimental that was to my learning. Because once you get at least able to build like a basic boilerplate, be it for Angular or Vue or React, and it just, all of the different YouTube videos you can watch start opening up. You can start learning about any sort of library that you want. You can start learning, you can really go down to, it really opens up paths for you if you just get a basic understanding of the framework down. And I would really encourage people, not to be scared, just to run that and see what happens. Because I mean, we see here that we've landed with a React app.
If we didn't run this command, all this would have to be done manually, or we'd have to just copy and paste a folder, and that folder would have been stagnant. So that's basically what we did. We just pulled from the node space onto our local machine.
Exactly. Yeah, let's just go through a quick tour of what just happened. We're in the package JSON folder now, and we see that it's holding the dependencies, which is Node, which is the API that we use to create React app and build everything. It's using React. It's using Jest, which is a testing framework that comes with it. React's really easy to test, and it's really fun to write tests while you write code with React. Another reason why I really like it. So all of that comes out of the box with a sample test to get you going. Down below here, we have scripts. React scripts is a library that is really cool. It will actually build and minify your code and serve it on the fly, which is what we could run this. We could go into the terminal right now and type npm start, and it would load up the entire app for us.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point when you're trying to fork another person's project and you run it and you're like, oh, it's not working. It's probably because you haven't done npm install. I think in this case it won't do anything, right? I mean, no, my bad, it will.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot about installing our node modules. So what's happening right now is all of these packages, if we look in our package JSON, it's just references to a package and a version number, right? By writing npm install, we're pulling down the actual code that we're going to use for those packages into our node modules.
All this stuff.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is once we actually deploy this app to a real website, we're just going to be deploying minified code.
Right.
So it won't be all of these different folders and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like.
Oh, I think it's good. So it ran the create React app. I'm in the project directory, the my app directory. Did npm install, and yeah.
So let's see if the app will build. We should just be able to run npm start here.
That's it. A moment of truth, guys. Fingers crossed. Starting development server. There we go.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love seeing that.
Yeah.
Little animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So you guys, big, we just went through trials and tribulations, but we got the app loading locally. This is where Git comes in, right? We have, exactly, it's time to ship it, which is exactly what we're going to do here. Think about Git as, you want to be, when you're using Git, the best way to push code to a repository is to push it small and understandable and granularly. There's two reasons for that. One reason is that, one, it's easy to understand, especially in a group setting when people are reviewing your pull requests. You want to give them small chunks of things to look at because, I guarantee you, I get the best code review on pull requests touching 1 or 2 files. If my pull requests go over 20, 30 files, I barely get any review on it just because it becomes too much for anyone to look at and actually find problems with or maybe better solutions for. So always keep your commits small. And I think that right now, getting this app loaded up, it's the perfect time to connect to our remote repository and push this up.
I forget, is it Git remote?
Let me send you.
Oh, it's I think Git. Do we have to? Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, this is fun. You should just be able to. I'm pretty sure the repo is already initialized, but you can start by just typing git init in your terminal.
Let's get in it.
So git init. So the first, yeah, that's a good question. We've created a local repository, which is basically like it's a reference around the code that we have that we can use to track how the code has changed by initializing a Git repository. And okay, so the first thing we should do is type in git diff. This will show us the differences that basically all of our initial changes, right? Git.
Div or diff? My bad. I've never run that before.
Try git status.
That's it.
Branch master. Okay, well, we haven't connected to the repository yet. Okay.
All that because there's nothing to commit.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've populated the repo, and so the virtual repo is empty. So like really, we have anything that we just uploaded that isn't Git ignored is ready to go up. So that's a good point, Julia. That's how we know there's something wrong. Like that's usually why when you look at like commit histories, the first commit is just the message. Instead of it making sense, it's usually something like this, because there's always a first commit that really does nothing. It's just uploading content. So
yeah, we should have changes to our Git history right now.
True. I wonder.
If you look at git ignore, we need to have the package JSON, the README, the SRC folder, and the public folder should all be in our Git history right now.
So let's try
adding
it to the stage.
You can try adding it, yeah.
Following password marker rehab. Node modules, okay. That's fine, we want that, right?
Sure, yeah. And now let's git commit. Every commit needs a message.
So you did the git add first.
Yes, so git adding this will make more sense once we create one commit. But basically, once you have git add will basically take all of your changes that you've made from the repository and stage them. Which if you think about, one metaphor I like to use for Git is like mailing a letter. And we can, if you think about your house being the local repository, this is like adding a letter to your mailbox, basically, right? So now this letter, it has committed, it has your name on it, you have reference to the changes you made, right? Or sorry, it's been staged, not committed. The next step is to commit, which I like to think of as like putting a stamp on the letter. and sealing it, right? You can't make any more changes anymore. It has a commit ID, which we can use to revert that change later if we want to.
So nothing to commit. That's
Yeah, I
still
think Git seems to not have a reference to.
Let me just try this real quick, just to make sure. Okay. Try it again. Okay, Git.
You might not. Can you just type ls? Make sure you're in the
Sure.
We might have initialized Git in the wrong directory, is what I'm thinking. Have tsconfig public src. Okay.
Here, let me try this at the same time. 1 second. The other thing I think it could be is that of my setup. So let me just add an existing repository real quick.
Okay.
So this is what I'm doing on my end. 1 second. So this is my setup and how I deal with Git. So like in the event we talked about downloading GitHub's desktop software, this is their desktop software. So what I'm doing here is that I'm just double checking the connection. So I'm going to add an existing repository, choose my path.
Project. Yep.
And add repo. I think that's it. It just wasn't doing it. Yeah. So let me publish this or push it. Yeah.
Wow, that was some good on-the-fly troubleshooting, you guys.
Yeah. And so let's see if we just do something here real quick. And git status. Nice. Okay. And this asterisk is adding everything to the stage and then doing the commit again. Pressing up on the arrow key, first commit. Nice. Okay. And we pushed it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Let's delete that index and no. And we should see a lot of different commits up in GitHub to look at, and this will be great.
Okay. Sorry. And then what next?
Oh, actually, I should have showed you guys how to revert a commit right there.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yeah.
Here, let's do that. Let's save and then go to your history and revert that change.
Okay, so save.
Now you can go in. You should be able to use Git VS Code to just see your save changes.
Oh, right here.
Yep. And now just put the second button.
Right click or oh my bad, this one.
You can just do that right. Discard changes. Yeah, there we go.
So this was another extension we talked about in the article we wrote. This is part of the GitHub extension on VS Code, right?
And this is a great way to show your changes and show your stage.
Yeah.
Changes.
I think earlier you mentioned most of your pull requests don't involve a lot of files. I think this would be a good place to look at that, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That would have been great. Yeah, let's go back to your GitHub and look at the commits that we just made.
So git status, was it? Your branches up to date with master. Is that it?
We've been troubleshooting since the beginning here. I mean, this is more like real life, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, awesome. So we got our code here. So click on code again to get to the main code, in GitHub.
Right here?
Yep. Or let's just get to the main code page here. Awesome. And then we should be able to look at the commits we just made somewhere.
Expand it.
Expand it.
Here we go.
2 commits right there. Let's click those commits. Okay, so we have initialized project creating React app, and then we have first commit. Let's click at first commit. And this is, I'll show you guys how to revert a commit really easily. So we have a commit where we added index, right? We see right now that, so let's say that let's pretend we're at work, right? And we just made a change that we didn't want to make. Every commit luckily has a unique ID associated with it that Git can use the code, wherever you are in a code, be it a new branch, wherever, and apply that commit ID. And it can use that commit ID to revert it. It's also really nice to do something called rebasing, which we probably won't be able to show here. We're going to need to have a file changed by multiple local repositories to really show how rebasing works. But the main thing you want to know is that every commit has an ID, and we can see that ID right here. And you want to copy that real quick, Michael?
Sure. Where is it again? Is it?
It's right up commit. Yep.
This long one.
No, that thing right there. Let's copy that. And let's make a new branch to revert this commit. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to VS Code.
Okay.
Perfect.
I think I do it this way. Or do you want to do it in the terminal method?
We can do it in the terminal. Yeah.
Cool.
So we're on master now. We've pushed. Okay, great. So before I start any work, there's two things I do, which is one, Git Fetch. What Git Fetch will do is every local computer has both their local repository and a reference to the remote repository. Git Fetch will update your references to the remote repository. After that, I always do Git pull to pull in the latest changes to the from the remote repository to my local master branch, which is what we're on right now, right? And I always go through those steps to make sure that I'm working off of the latest copy of the remote repository before I start anything. So if you type git pull right here, it should just say everything is up to date, Michael. But so let's make a new branch. And the way you can do that easily on the command line by typing git-b. And let's call this revert-html.
Oops.
Sure.
Oops. Oh, I put a space.
Get checkout -b.
Get space checkout.
Yep, space checkout, space -b. Yep.
And then all that. Okay.
Yep, we're good. So now we're on a new branch called revert HTML, right?
And we can also tell this through VS Code. It also told us down here. Yeah.
So now we have a new local branch that's based off of our main remote branch, right? And what we're going to do now is we're going to revert that change that we just made, push it up, and create a pull request to merge that back into main. Okay. And it's really easy to do. All you have to do is type git revert and then paste in that commit ID.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Commit, please enter.
Okay, you can push, change to be committed, delete it in HTML. You can push Control X or Apple X to get out of this view.
Control X.
Sometimes it
I
drops.
think for me it's C to like quit the REPL kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do C for that.
Oh yeah.
Here it says
in Vim,
QA.
type :QA and press enter to exit Vim. Sorry, I put you in Vim.
There you go. Wait.
QA
Nice.
:enter. Awesome. And now, so by reverting that branch, you notice that we didn't have to add anything. We didn't have to commit anything, right? That's because we have reference to that commit ID. Does that make sense?
Okay, reference that commit ID.
So we've reverted that commit onto this branch, and we don't need to generate a new commit ID. And we don't. So we can just type git push, and this will push this new branch up.
I see what you mean. We're not staging anything. We don't have to.
Copy
new
paste that in there.
branch you're pushing is the revert of the HTML.
Yeah, sorry. We can see git push set upstream origin revert HTML. What this is saying is push this local branch to a new remote branch called revert HTML.
Cool.
We did it.
Nice.
All right, let's go back to your GitHub and see what happened.
And should I go back?
Code.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Compare and pull
Nice.
request. So we just made a new pull request. We just made, what did we do? Let's recap, you guys.
Yeah.
We created a new, first thing we did is we we started on our main master branch. We fetched the code to update the remote branch, the reference to the remote branch. We pulled the code into our local branch to make sure we were up to date, right? Then we created a new local branch, which is, we can call this like a new feature. This is reverting something. We took the commit ID that we wanted to revert, and we reverted that branch, which automatically made a new commit. And then we pushed that branch up to our remote server. Now we have 2 remote branches on our server. We have master and we have revert HTML. There you go, yeah. And we're right now, the last thing we need to do is merge the changes we did on this. Yep, compare and pull requests. This is when a lot of peer review comes in if you're working at a bigger company. Oh, we have to create it first.
Oh, create pull request?
Create a pull request. And, you know, people could add comments in here. If you scroll down and look at the code that's changed before you merge it, we can like we can review the code that's been changed. It should just be deleting that HTML file. That's it. And it's always nice to delete this remote branch after you're done with the work, because we have the reference in the commit ID, and we don't just want a bunch of remote branches sitting on Git. Cool.
Nice.
All right, let's get into deploying this page onto GitHub Pages, okay? Because that's pretty cool. It's pretty easy. The first thing that we need to do is, well, I guess let's now start a new branch of work, right? So let's go back to VS Code. And my general flow for starting new work is we first want to make sure that we're on the correct, like we basically want to make sure that HTML file that we just reverted is removed from the main branch, right? So the first thing I always do when starting new work is go to the branch that I'm branching the work off of, which is master in this point. So you can get there by just saying git checkout master. Let's type git fetch.
And now it's changed here. Okay.
And then git pull. We should see the index HTML be deleted, right? Delete index HTML, awesome. So now we're on fresh master. Let's create a new branch to set up a deploy process. So git checkout new branch, or sorry, -b. And let's call this deploy -script. Awesome, we're in the branch.
The deploy script is the name of this branch, right?
Yeah. And you can see that right there, deploy script.
And I think what's really interesting here, just to make sure I understand, you're creating 2 branches, one for development and then one for deployment, right? Is that the general strategy?
You're creating 3 branches, but you're definitely on the right track with that.
Okay. See, that's good. That's good.
Deploy the minified code.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's good industry knowledge right there. I just wanted to point that out, right? Like even at Shopify, whenever the store is down or like there's some kind of glitch, you know, it's not like the devs wake up and start coding at 2 a.m. They always just revert back. Basically, they always revert back. They're just reverting back the repo, and they only have a deploy branch that does that.
And most businesses can do that right on the web page. There's a graphical user interface to it. You literally just like, you find what broke it and you click revert, and that's it. Do you want to go to this documentation now, Michael?
Sure.
I can talk you through how to connect this repository. So basically, GitHub Pages is a really nice offering of GitHub that will allows you to host your repository on a website that's available publicly for anybody to review. Let's scroll up to step 1 here, not step 4. There's a couple config settings we need to add more. Yeah, so we need to add homepage to our JSON. That should be the first step. So let's copy that first line there, Michael. Homepage, my username.github.io/myapp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it copied.
And let's go to your package JSON. and let's paste it right above scripts.
Right above scripts.
For sure.
Oh, I don't know what that debug button is. Okay.
And let's change this to what your username actually is and what the
Sorry.
repo name actually is.
Shoot. Very cool.
You might have to go copy paste the repo name.
So instead of, sorry, under versus my app, it would be.
It would be React TS CI example.
Any typos? I don't see any. Okay.
We'll find out. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what the next, we need to add. So the next thing that we need to do is add a new package. The purpose of this package is to communicate with GitHub, and it's also going to create a new branch on our GitHub repository to host the code from. And this goes back to minified JavaScript and CSS that I was talking about. When we're building with a framework, at the end of the day, a browser needs an HTML file, a JavaScript file, and a CSS file, right? It doesn't need all this fancy framework syntax. And so basically, we're just using more JavaScript to compile this framework down into minified JavaScript, CSS, and HTML.
I think I can provide an example of that. So like minified is this. When you look at this and you're like, who on God's green earth reads their code in one line? Well, a computer does.
The computer spits it out like every 2 seconds when you deploy it.
So
every time.
Yeah, so this is what it means to minify. It's just more efficient way of uploading it. Yeah.
So I think your next thing you're going to need to do is add the GitHub Pages package. Let's scroll down. Step 2. Yeah, npm install -- save gh-pages.
And this is I think this is again something that if you know about Node.js, then all these commands are just like, okay, we're just doing Node packages that do, this is how I think of Node at least, like, okay, I'm installing this package, I know wishy-washy what it does, and I don't need to go into the details. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're downloading Node packages that have functions in it that just do what Josh said, basically. It's helping communicate between our code and the repo.
Yeah, and we're also, we're following, also like the documentation is really important. Like one reason why Create React app is such a good learning tool is because its documentation is so good. Like right now we're deploying our app with like copying and pasting 3 or 4 things from documentation, right? That's super powerful and it's there for a reason. And do not feel bad to use it and think of it as a tool, even if you do not fully understand it. And I guarantee that it'll start opening up things for you, for sure.
I think we're adding more of these scripts, is that right?
Scripts here. I can take you through what these scripts do. So the pre-deploy script will run first. It will do npm run build, which is how Create React app manually generates these minified JavaScript files instead of serving them over React scripts. Then it will run deploy, which is git gh-pages. Dbuild will just be the name of the folder that it's building to. It'll create a build folder. And there's also another parameter that you can put in here to name which branch you want to build the minified code to. If you don't put anything, it will automatically create a branch for you called gh-pages, which is nice. That all looks great. Okay. Okay, I think that all we need to do is npm run deploy, and it should set it up automatically for us in GitHub.
Okay, moment of truth is another one. Are we going to get error messages? And we're not.
Never errors, it's okay.
Yeah. It looks good to me.
Looks good to me. You see we've created a build folder, which is nice, and we publish. Cool. All right, let's look at your build folder now. You can see that we generate a new build folder. We can also see if you click into your Git history, Michael, we don't see the build folder. Why is that? Reason is it's being ignored. It's in our get ignore file.
Right.
Because we want the master branch to have the actual framework code on it. We don't need, we're serving the built code somewhere else. Just the same as we don't have node modules covered in source control. We just have their versions in the node package, right?
Exactly.
That
Yeah,
makes
never.
sense.
Yeah, you're saying we don't push the actual node modules because that would be too big, and so we ignore it. But any developer can have access to it through the through the package.json.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we get through CI, we can actually see that under the hood, in order to serve this page, GitHub is literally saying npm install and building the packages at runtime while it's building through continuous integration every time. Yeah, awesome. Well, I think we should be able to go to GitHub and make sure this is all set up right. Like, for example, we should see a GH Pages branch.
Oh yeah, is it here?
If we go to,
Nice.
yeah, let's see that GH Pages updated 2 minutes ago. Look at that. Let's click into that.
They're the same for year inactive. Okay, cool.
Look at that. It's our, so we have an index.html here. We have some assets that came with Create React app, like basically that spinning logo and everything. Yeah, there you go. And then if you click into static, there's our minified CSS, and JS. Beautiful.
Oh, chunk. I've never seen that before. Okay.
The last thing that we should be able to see this right now. Let's see, where do you find this? I wrote it down. Click on settings, pages. Click that link. Looks like your pages. So
Oh, yeah, look at
you
that.
see source. Your GitHub Pages is currently being served from branch GitHub Pages at root, which is what we want. That root has an HTML file. That's a basic JavaScript, has a basic CSS, right? Let's go to that. Look at that.
Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Really cool, guys.
Drop that in chat.
Yeah. So now when this is maybe a long way to get to it because it's React, Node.js, but you can also use GitHub Pages to make like even simple HTML, CSS pages and JSS. It's just, you can also do that. So like if you have a simple, like I just mentioned, a simple website just using those 3 languages and you want to make it live, you know, to show off, you know, take some time, look at GitHub Pages. It's really good for simple pages like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is awesome.
If anyone's interested in continuous integration, we can also set that up, and that's really cool. That basically means that we don't have to deploy it. We don't have to deploy our app manually on the command line. Instead, we can just rely on GitHub to really, for any action we want, deploy this code. The most general one is to do what's called a pre-deploy when a pull request is opened onto the branch to ensure that everything will work. And then also whenever that branch is changed, of course, we'll want continuous integration to deploy that code to our site. Cool. Let's do it. This is what I just learned about. So for this, I'm going to drop in. I'm probably going to end up just and again, like in order to learn, I literally just like typed into Google, create React app, GitHub CI example. And I followed this guy's example. So this should work pretty easy. We've probably already done a lot of this. So let's scroll down. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is we need to generate a deploy token and create a repository secret for sure. So, okay. Yeah, and here's the node file. Let's go back to your GitHub. And let's go to developer settings.
Okay.
So one thing that continuous integration needs is we're going to write a script that requires a secret, and that secret we need to generate just like a pat key, basically.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Clicking on.
Well,
See, okay, that's a good lesson right there. There's the repo settings, and then your your profile settings. So
yeah, different
this
things.
is the right settings I was looking for. And the developer settings.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to generate this off screen real quick.
Yeah, let's generate. Why don't you generate a new token, and make sure you copy that down, because we're going to need to paste it in another GUI soon.
And the personal access token, right? There's the
Make
there's
sure it has repo, and make sure it has repo rights.
okay.
Click repo.
Okay, as repo. Okay, I have it copied.
All right, now let's go to settings and React TS-CLI example. Yep. Let's go to secrets. New repository secret.
Okay, what would I name it?
Name. Let's call this deploy token.
Lowercase.
Hey, let's go to the guy. Let's name it exactly what the guy has it named. Yeah. Actually, you should paste the token in there right now, because you're about to copy this guy's other token.
Okay, so
Paste the value.
so I'll put it in there, and then what am I copying here?
Scroll down. Keep scrolling down. I wonder what he has a name. Oh, he's adding code coverage. Wow. We don't need code coverage token. We can skip that for now. Keep scrolling down.
Oh, here we go.
Actions deploy access token. Yeah. Let's name it that.
Okay, so I have the name, which you copied the thing. Do I add the secret now?
Yeah, that should be your secret name, and then the value should be the secret from the pat
Cool.
token you generated.
Cool.
Cool. If you scroll down, we should have it there. Awesome. Looks good. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a YAML script to run the continuous integration on. And the way that we'll do that is we're going to go, you have to get to actions, which is up in the main, if you scroll up, yeah, right there.
This is going to be cool. I think if I understand, it's just automated procedures actions.
Yep. Awesome. And let's scroll all the way down. There should just be like a generic one to do. Keep scrolling. Manual workflow.
Right here.
Yeah. Cool. And let's name this ci.yml instead of manual.
Oh, just like that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, let's go back to the guy's thing, the tutorial. Yeah, and let's scroll down to the very bottom and just grab his entire script, and then we'll delete whatever we don't need from it. Yeah, this bad boy right here.
So all the, is there a particular?
Let's grab it all, copy paste it, and then we'll go through it in GitHub and delete what we won't need, and I'll run everyone through what's happening with it. Okay. This
is prime software engineering, right? Finding something, copying it, pushing it. There we go.
Yeah, I mean it's how the internet was built, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And this goes here.
Yep. So let's just replace all of this with what we have copied. Okay. All right. So let's just read this. Steps. The first thing we're going to do is check out the repository, which is, I mean, this is going to really look a lot like what we do manually to build the app, right? So we're going to set up node. When we look at action/setup node v1, node version, these are built-in methods that are being supplied to us from GitHub Actions. And basically under the hood, we're installing node onto a brand new box, basically, right? And after we have the repository checked out with actions checkout, we set up Node.js. The next thing we want to do is install dependencies. This is what we were talking about before, where like our big dependency folder wasn't actually being committed to source control. It's because it really doesn't need to be. That's being pulled from versions from our package file, right? So the CI is going to install all of those modules every time we do a continuous deployment, basically. This will ensure that, the code is fresh and we won't have to hold that code in a repository at all, right? Lines 30 through 34, let's delete because we never set that up. But one of the main uses of CI is the testing side, whereas you develop features, you can write tests for them, and then someone else will develop a feature, and if it breaks your feature, it won't let their code merge in until they fix it, because you have that test coverage. npm run build is going to build the minified files like we talked about, right? And now we have deploy, which is going to basically pull your username and email from whatever config they have it in, setting your repository, running deploy, making sure, and you see that GitHub token secrets.actions deploy access token there.
Yeah, that's why I was asking what was the name, because like if you're a Node.js developer, you do the process.env and then the name that it's
Well, we often have it's a good point bringing up node or environment variables, right? Often when you're working at a company, you'll have your environment variables, which will hold things like different keys to access different services that you're integrated with. But on the CI side, those same keys are often held just as these secrets are held in GitHub, right? Like we would have a secret for like HubSpot access token, for example, right? And those would sit just as they sit in your local environments, they would sit in your GitHub secrets to be pulled from actions and run scripts. So I think that if we commit this action, it should start off a build, and hopefully it'll work.
So here's a good example of what I was saying earlier, right? Like we just said, hopefully it works. Some people, what they'll do is they'll put in the commit, don't do that, especially if you're making like a project that you want to show, right?
I would do something like proof of concept, continuous integration feature. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Super impressive.
And commit directly to main, master main.
Yep, you're going to need to commit to your master branch to pick it up. That's good. We could have created a pull request, but sure.
Yeah, and just to summarize what we're doing here, this is probably, I would say this is like GitHub intermediate to advanced GitHub Actions. I would say, like but at the same time, it's good to know it exists, because if someone looks at your repo or a project and they say, okay, how are you handling all these integrations? Like, do you use actions? That's definitely more impressive during like an interview or when you're, flaunting off a portfolio piece. So GitHub, they have, I think they have a lot of resources on it. After the session, I'll probably Google some and send it out. So that itself is another topic. So if this is going over here and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? That's because this is like, it's part of GitHub, but it's, like I said, it's probably intermediate to advanced concept. Like I've only done this once, and if you're independent developer, you're really going to do it, I think. So
yeah, you just got to jump in and see what happens.
Right.
I think if we click on actions, we should see the build being kicked off automatically. There we go. Let's click into this create ci.yml. Let's click into 0, 1 of jobs completed. Oh, we have a failure. Cool. Let's see so click into 0 of 1 job completed. It should be able to show us the failure.
Oops, yep. Where, right here?
Click that again. Yep, right there. It's good. Deploy.
Oh, it made it through all these steps. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Click into deploy, see what the error is.
Oh, it generated debug log?
Interesting.
Missing
Run git config global username. I'm wondering if this is something similar to when we didn't. Maybe this has something to do with the Git desktop app. like when we uses changes originally, because it seems to be confused about. Let's click. When in doubt, rerun it.
Rerun it, sure. Rerun jobs. Rerun all jobs.
Julia, this looks a lot like Azure, right? Yeah.
Azure's the Julia. Actually, you would probably know best of what it is, right?
I wouldn't say Josh knows, but Josh and I work with Azure DevOps and
that's
on
right.
GitHub at work. And it's very often where I'm doing things like sending Josh screenshots of pages like this. Like, what does this mean? Or I'll ask why something's not ready and he'll be like, it's still building. And I'll be like, show me how to check that. But over time, I feel like I've sent less and less of those kinds of messages.
Another cool feature of Actions is that it can run tests.
Yes.
So if you are working with a team, moment of truth, and you want to reduce your workload and not look at requests that fail your tests, you would create a test file with like Jest or what's another one, Mocha or Chai. Oh wow. Oh, no, this is where it was. It was on the deploy part. And then these actions would go through it and tell you, hey, it failed. Like in this case, hey, this failed. But yeah.
Why don't you try clicking that log? You should be able to right-click that log and go to it. Yeah, that one.
My right click does this.
Control click. Where is this home runner?
It's not on my. Is it on my computer? No.
Okay, well, luckily we should be able to edit this YAML file if we go into VS Code. I can look at my setup too. Oh.
I do have some commits here, or unstaged changes. I don't know if that means anything. Oops. I think that could be it.
Oh. Yes.
All right. Should I push that? So I'm in deploy.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay. So I'm in
we forgot to push this. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
No, like I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, but Brandon was saying earlier, it's kind of nice to watch this kind of troubleshooting, because if you're just watching like a streamlined YouTube tutorial and things go 100% right the first time, that's like not how it goes in real life.
Probably ended up being a lot
useful
better
to
when I
watch
could
this.
share my screen.
And the other thing I wanted to point out is that, so see what's going on here, where like this is the working tree, and then we have like this right here. This is using the Git Lens extension that I wrote about in that article. Mm-hmm. So what's here, it's saying like, so this is what we have, and then this is what's in the repo, and so this, when we push it, this is what's being added to like this line. So when I write about Git Lens and I talk about, this is a visual representation of that. I know Trish was interested in learning more about it. Personally, Trish, this is how I use it. I just know, okay, this is what I'm adding, this is what I'm removing. Pretty good, committed.
And in this specific case, what happened was we were like, why isn't the deploy working in the CI? And we realized that it doesn't have access to GitHub Pages because we haven't added that.
Right.
So hopefully once we push this up, create a pull request, actually just creating the pull request with the way we have the YAML file written should kick off a new CI build, and hopefully it should pass. So why don't we push this branch up and create a new pull request?
So I have to commit are they committed yet?
No, they're not committed yet. You can tell that because it just says changes.
Where does it say changes? Sorry.
In your source, like we're under source control, where you can see like the changes. It'll say changes there, and once you add them, it'll go to stage changes.
Okay.
See how it says stage changes now?
I see. Okay. And then Oh, and you said to the main, but we're currently in the deploy script branch.
That's okay. We're
Okay.
remember.
Oh,
we're
you
gonna
just
pick
said that.
the
We're gonna.
branch up and then merge it into main, right, with a pull request. And then this commit should be something like add GitHub Pages dependency.
The art of a good commit message.
For sure.
So I'm gonna do that. Cool.
And then if you get push, it should prompt you with like the git push setups. I always do this. I don't know why, but I always just do git push, and then it tells me the setup string message I need to write, and then I copy paste that. And it's not the best way to do it, but it's what my muscle memory dictates. Awesome. So now, if we go back to GitHub, and we wrote the YAML file, right? There should be a continuous integration deploying. Let's go to React TSC. Oh no, we need to create the pull request still. Sorry.
Oh, and then we're gonna do that in VS Code, or?
Oh no, we create the pull request right in the graphical user interface in GitHub. So
cool.
just go to your normal code in GitHub.
Oh.
Compare and pull request. And you can do create pull request. And this should kick off CI.
Cool.
And we should see it.
Ooh, there we go. Oh, that's so cool.
All right, click into that. Now let's watch this. So here's our new CI build. Hopefully this one will work because it has reference to GitHub Pages and it can deploy it.
Sorry, what do I click on?
Just click it. Just
This
click
one?
CI/CD build. Yep.
Oh. Or maybe details.
Quick details.
Ah, there we go.
Now we can watch this go.
This is
cool.
yeah.
This is like a pre-check to make sure that it can deploy before we merge it to the main branch. Yeah, variable names are really hard too, Brandon.
What was it? On the subject of variable names, what do they call it? There's camel case and then there's another case.
Pascal.
Camel case, there's Pascal case, there's a bunch of cases.
Oh, there's more.
Oh yeah, there's like underscore with all lowercase letters with underscores is a specific case.
Snake case, is that
Snake
upper,
case.
lower, upper, lower? That's what I would guess.
No, I think snake case is all lower with underscores, but I could be wrong. Brandon says it's snake case.
Nice, you got past. Wait, was it build or deploy we had the issue on?
Boy, this is where it's gonna either fail or pass. It worked.
Oh, it did? Yeah, published.
Yeah.
What? There we go.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool.
It's really cool. All right, let's do one more example. Let's just change some HTML and then see it. Well, first let's
Wait,
complete
do we
this
have
pull. Let's
HTML to
complete this pull request and not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, so.
And then we can maybe hopefully see something visually change at the end instead of just like config settings. Yeah, pull request, add GitHub Pages dependency, merge pull request. Wow. We actually did a lot more than I thought we would do, you guys.
Nice.
Especially with, with the
Yes.
surprise, can't share the screen. That's awesome.
Did you guys see Brandon's message in the chat? Wait, you guys.
Screaming snake case, yeah.
That would be as funny as
I'll go
it.
with that. Yeah. I write all of my enums in screaming snake case.
Cool.
That's awesome. Let's do one more, Michael. Let's go to master. Let's fetch pull. Let's make a new branch and let's change the HTML, and then let's watch it deploy automatically to the website.
So we're gonna go here.
We're gonna go here and let's do git checkout master.
There we go.
Git fetch, git pull. Another thing, a cool thing you can do with the command lines, you can use semicolons too. So you can do
That's
like
right.
semicolon get pull and it'll run it all. We see, there's our YAML file, there's our package lock, looks great. Let's make a new branch, get checkout -B.
And then just
Let's just name this like change-copy. No.
should I change it or?
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
I've never made a branch with quotation marks before, but I guess.
Uh-oh, that's good. So now is it part of the name? Shoot.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's.
Optical branch.
Yeah.
We can start clicking into React now. Why don't you go into SRC? I can give you guys a little tour of React if you want. I wanted to build like a form with horrible user experience, but.
Oh, did you put the link to that in the chat?
Oh yeah, I'll send you guys what I wanted to build for this.
Was this the one on Reddit?
This is, yeah, I
I
the link
tried
that
to
Josh
look up the
sent
one on
me.
Reddit,
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
a goof.
It looks pretty good. I got pretty far.
Yeah. So just a quick summary of what we did while we pulled that up. So we did a lot, but like in terms of GitHub, we've shown how to connect to your repo from your machine, right? In my case, I had used the user interface, right? So I had created it locally with Git in it, and then I clicked on add here, add existing repo, and then went through there and then published it. And then when I dealt with any changes, I used the terminal to push it, to fetch requests, to pull requests, to do things like that. So like if we were to boil it down to like a 101, those are the things really you're doing. So next time when you're making your project, you can do those things and just push your commits to the repo. And the benefit to that, even if it's just a simple project to that, is going to be the following. Because, and Josh and Julie could say more about this, is basically getting your contributions thing like as strong as possible, even when you're making simple HTML files. Because I've heard, and people have told me this, I've just never experienced this, is that when you tell people like coding's my passion, having like this contribution thing is like easy proof, because they see, oh yeah, he or she commits every day, and they rarely look into it. So even if it's like a commit to like changing a paragraph on an HTML file, it's still a commit. That's still a day of coding. Sorry?
That's a pro tip.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I think if you look at my GitHub, it's like all green, and then I get hired at Autobooks, and then it's just 3 years of black. And then
well, I've seen people do that.
Codecademy Talks, and it started to light up green again.
So I've seen that on people, and I assume that's because they have like a work GitHub account. Right?
Well, Azure is, Azure's
yeah.
GitHub under the hood anyway.
Yeah.
Here, but yeah, it's just all of those commits are now just eaten up and as company property and not open source is all it is.
Yeah. Trish said she can't wait for more than 3 green squares. You're gonna get there, Trish. Today's the first day. Today is green square 1.
Yeah,
for sure.
Send me your GitHub link. I want to follow.
Yeah.
If you're feeling shy, you can DM it. But
and yeah, all of this. I mean, if React is too much, and if you just want to play with CSS and write an HTML file, like GitHub works for all of that. Continuous integration also works for all of that. In fact, if we could have published, which is what I did when I was trying to set up GitHub Pages, and it took me an hour to figure out what was going wrong. But initially, I published the repository with the unminified files, and all that it would show was the README, because that was the only thing that resembled an HTML file to it. But if you just build an HTML file, a CSS file, a JavaScript file, and you can host it on GitHub Pages with these same steps.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say was issues. So it's kind of crazy that I make issues on projects. Some of these issues I made here, like only no one can see. Like I think this is a private project. So the other good thing about that you should do on GitHub, as well as making commits, if not daily, at least very occasionally, is making issues. So like if you encountered an error, and I would document it, you know, make a new branch, you know, make pull requests, make commits to that, try and solve that. Because if it's a portfolio piece, that could be your shining moment. And that would be a good moment to show an employer, like, you know, one, I know how to communicate. I can write formal documentation that says, here's the problem, here's how I solved it. And two, it shows that you know how to use GitHub, right? But yeah.
Another great point. Yeah, there's tons of open source libraries out there that
Well,
you
we'll
can
talk.
just go and open a pull request for. It could not even be a bug if you like have an idea for a library, like, oh, it would be cool, maybe this little, like, especially like if you look at like a little UI library, like maybe someone built a little UI library with like cute buttons and stuff, and it has like not many subscribers to it. Like you could be like, oh, maybe like it could have this cute button too. Make a pull request to that, and once you open that pull request, you're talking to someone just like you or me. It's just somebody with a GitHub account who has a GitHub project on it, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
But like that's a great point, Michael, that like that showing that initiative and that point of touch, you're really replicating and showing like what your attitude would be in an actual work environment. Employers die over that. That's sort of how do I want to say this? Like emotional investment. Employers really love, you know. I don't want to say like saying like I'm passionate about coding. It's not really exactly that. It's more like I'm passionate about sharing ideas with people and like learning and building on them. And that's more the spirit of open source code for sure.
Right.
It's not just typing on the keyboard. It's seeing someone's idea, taking that idea, applying it a different way, and then like also having your idea be shareable to other people.
Yeah.
And that's really how open source works.
Hey, speaking of open source, Michael, did you want to talk about the Codecademy Docs? I know we're kind of running up on time here, you guys.
Yeah, so let me see. I had saved here. Okay, so speaking of open source projects, one that Codecademy created recently is the Codecademy Docs, okay? So I'll put this in the chat. So this is a really good resource for people that are starting on GitHub, that they're starting their coding journey, and also they want to commit to an open source project, basically where what that means is that someone's reviewing it, someone's reviewing pull requests, and that there is an opportunity, depending on the content you want to put, that you can be published. Well, that you could publish content. Your name won't be on it, but you can change this content, if you will, right? So just as an example, like if we go to JavaScript and we look up all these topics, I wonder if there's a topic on here that they haven't addressed, right? You know, you went through the JavaScript course and you learned a lot, and you've even done some independent stuff. So like, let's go to objects, for example. Okay, so they're talking about properties, accessing objects, methods, all this. What? That's it? I've learned more about JavaScript than what's on this page. I can definitely make a contribute to this. So what they did is that they have the code docs on the GitHub repo, which let me try it this way. Yeah, where it's open source. You can make a pull request to it, which we talked about, right? So you can click on here, new pull request. And let's see, why is it not doing it? Compare changes, choose different branches. Oh, because you have to make a branch, right? So you got to make a branch, and they talk about that in their documentation here. So we got contributing guidelines. Right, so if you want to contribute to it, which is basically how they tell you to do that, which is also the formula. We'll get to that here. That's a good question, Amy. We'll get that second here. So like if you wanted to, so this is basically the recipe to make pull requests, commits to a repo. So if you definitely want to, start flexing your GitHub muscles, this is a very good way to do that. And who knows, if you make a successful contribution, let me think of a good example. Let me think. Who has it? Sometimes people get badges. I don't know what are the conditions that you get it, but like.
Michael, when you're finished too, do you want to go to the repository and we can show them how to clone it too? Because I think that's the stuff you're missing there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically an open source project that talks about that. And the other repository, I think, because I think one of the steps was cloning it, right? Yeah.
So
okay.
If we're talking about this Codecademy repository to make a pull request, you're going to need to clone that remote repository into a local instance before you can start making branches. We didn't do that step with the React app because we generated the React app.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah.
Right? But we need to pull down the remote code that's already there before you can make changes to that. And you should do that. Where is it in the?
I always forget. I don't even.
Oh, there it is. Clone. It's right there.
Okay.
In code. Yeah, you just do git clone and then that HTTPS.
Right here.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you run that in your CLI, it'll clone it.
Yep. So you should be
in your terminal.
Well, this is cloning the repo we just made, but you should be able to clone any open source terminal, including the Codecademy one. I'm guessing in order to make changes to it. Yep.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. So those were some examples of open source projects, and then I think was there a third talking point? The skylight. Yeah, or skyline. This is pretty cool. Josh, can I use your repo as an example for this? Or your what?
My horrible form,
it can be anything. I just need something with anything with good commit history in 2020.
I have nothing with good commit history.
Oh no. Okay, so let's do. Anyone have good commit history in the year 2020?
Look at, I have some. I've been working for a couple days on this horrible form, so I think this might be a good one.
Well, it's you'll see. Unfortunately, so there's this cool thing that GitHub does. This was just something like fun to share. So like if you copy and paste your link into this cool thing that GitHub has, it can turn all your commits into a 3D story. So it only works for 2020 though. There's no 2021. So I'm trying to find a good example. I wonder if we just did Codecademy, what would happen? Oops, no, that's not right. Contribution crash.
GitHub Codecademy. You had an HTTPS.
Oh, I see. Is it that? Oh no. There you go.
Maybe.
Come on. One more time. I would do mine, but I don't. Maybe off camera I'll show Julia and Josh why it's not a good idea. Does anyone have a repo that they would like, or their a GitHub account that they would like to volunteer with good commit history for 2020?
Gary Graffer.
Thank you. I don't know. You can't hear the music, but it's playing music.
Okay.
And
wow.
Yeah. So like, this is another good motivational thing, I guess, right? Like if you want to create your GitHub skyline, you could use this tool as well. Sorry, the music's loud.
No, we can't hear. So.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's just something I wanted to share. Way to go. Good job, Canary Grapher or Yash. So.
I would love to, if we have a second, to hit on Amy's question, and then I want to talk about some of our upcoming events, and then we really got to get a wrap on this, guys.
Yeah.
Deleting your repositories. Amy, do you mean that you went and you physically deleted the repository and now you're looking for the code? Or are you talking about a branch that you deleted?
Amy, I'm setting your presenter mode too, so you can just hop on if you on the mic if you want. It should allow you to.
Yeah, because if you're talking about deleting a branch, as long as you have that branch committed to GitHub, you should be able to pull any new branch down again. And if you deleted your repository, but you have the code on your computer, you should be able to make a new repository. And if you have neither, there's always memory to rely on. Right.
Maybe if you're in the Discord, post some screenshots and someone might be able to help you.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
But actually, this is because I really would like us to get a wrap on this, you guys. If you could stop sharing, Michael, I'll go back to the slides. Okay. Okay, so I did want to talk about thanks everybody for coming and who stayed through the whole thing. I know we covered a ton of material, so thank you so much to Josh and Michael for killing it, really throwing out that expertise. And then just want to make sure if you haven't had a chance to join the Discord server yet, you should. Let's work through things together if you come across problems doing this. Want to make sure you do it. There's also that code on there, chapter member. It's like chapter-member. You can get 20% off of a pro membership. I do not get anything out of like giving that code to you. Like there's no kickback to me. I just really love my pro membership, and Codecademy was really nice. It gave me one to pass on to the people who come to these events. Speaking of, we would love to see you at some of our upcoming events. I've been doing study sessions on Tuesdays at lunchtime. If you're in the Eastern Standard Time like I am, it's just like 30 minutes. Trish is there a lot. McCall, who I think had to jump off, he's there quite a bit, or has come recently. I just work on my C# for half an hour, and everybody's welcome to work on whatever they're working on. We just give encouragement in the chat. And then it's quite a ways away, but in October, we're having a JavaScript regular expressions lesson. It's going to be pretty exciting. Lucas, who some of you may have met in the past, he's another coworker of mine and Josh's. He's going to teach us some regular expression work. If you've done like the credit card checker project or any of the like password related projects in Codecademy, you've done some amount of regular expressions already. It's sort of like string comparison stuff, but I think you'll enjoy the deep dive on it if you've been learning any JavaScript yourself. So again, thanks all for coming. I hope you all had a great time. Michael, any other parting words?
Yeah, so we're, I wasn't able to get on this slide, but we are thinking of trying out like a JavaScript support hour. We're probably going to do 1 hour every Friday, just start from there. It's going to be all on the Discord channel. And I'm going to send a formal email communication about that. But yeah, it's just an hour where, as a Detroit Codecademy chapter, you could hang out with people. Hey, I'm looking at this project. Any help with it? I'm getting a type error in a file that I don't even have access to. Things like that. We can try and troubleshoot it together.
Awesome. And we'll be sending out that kind of information. Also, the recording of this event. So if there's something you were like, shoot, I kind of missed a step, and you wanted to go back and review, I'll be uploading it to YouTube, and I'll be sending it out sometime this weekend. So send the link to a friend, somebody else who could use this kind of stuff in their life. Josh, did you have any parting words, any words of wisdom?
No, that all sounds great, guys. It was really fun, and I will be back again soon to teach something else. Maybe if anyone's interested, we can start building some things out in React and playing around with it. That's really my wheelhouse, is writing React. It's what I do day to day. Yeah, I'd love to get in that, you guys. Maybe we'll build this horrible form together one day.
Yeah, let's do it. And if you guys have ideas of like especially React-based projects you'd like to do, feel free to put them in Discord, in our
Yeah, for
Discord
sure.
channel, and we'll float them and we'll see what sticks. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.